I am not teaching, I am publicly learning. But hi and welcome to Learning for the Life in the UK test part 574 while doing leg stretching. And if you participate in the leg stretching, let's set your arm risk. We are starting with the first exercise. Both legs out, the toes together, don't have them at the outside, and pull the toes in. You can also stretch them like that. We are looking now all. We already had it all, and now we're going through the whole thing and looking for something which we can shoot as a separate video. And the first thing which we found here are the chartrists. They existed in the 1830s and 40s, 40,000, and they had demands for which they campaigned in the voting right. And these were that every man has the right to vote, so just man, not woman, that every man can vote, that elections are held every year, that every man can vote, and that every year, and that all regions have to be equal in the electoral system. All regions have equalism in the electoral system. That all regions have equalism in the electoral system. That the voting is secret, so the ballots are secret, and that any man has the ability to stand as a member of parliament, and that these member of parliaments are paid for. Number 6. Do we say on something else? No, one leg in and just the other one. And pull the toes in. By 1918, most of these reforms were adopted, and also women got the voting right then in 1928, from the age of 13, from the age of 21 onwards. Let's just say actually what we have here. Now let's explain what it was. Around 1800, Britain was not really a democracy, or not a democracy as it is today. Only very few people could vote. Only men could vote, women could not vote, and only if they had a certain amount of property. The campaign of the Chartrists with these 6 demands failed, or was seen as a failure, but over the course of the 19th century, of the 1800s and onwards, most of these things were adopted. And then 1918, after more campaigning, what was the term we used? Not incorporation. We've changed leg. Recognition. Also in recognition of women's work during the First World War and campaigning through, for example, suffragettes. Women got the voting right in 1918, partly, and then as the same as men in 1928, which was reduced in 1969 to 18. The next exercise, the card raiser. Both legs are having 90 degrees, and we have the hands at the knee behind of us, and we're leaning in front of the shoulder to the knee in front of us. The British Constitution. So we're repeating all what we had in the book, and we're looking for things which we can do in a video. One is here. Now we're going to do one video about the Chartrists. What are 6 demands? What are the 6 demands of the Chartrists? This is the title of the video. A constitution is a set of principles by which a country is governed. It includes all of the institutions that are responsible for running the country and how their powers kept in check. That includes laws and conventions. The British Constitution is not written down. There are some people, because there was never a revolution in Britain, and there was which never led permanently to a total new system of government. And they have developed over hundreds of years, the institutions in Britain. Some people say there should be a single document in which the Constitution is written down. Other people say it's better, but it is not, so there's more flexibility. And in the UK, there are several different parts of government. The main ones are these now the several parts of the government or the constitutional institutions? Probably both. In addition, there are developed governments in Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland that have the power to legislate on certain issues. They do not name, they say the judiciary. This would be law. The question is, we are changing the side. Can we do a video in which we're going to say what are the constitutional constitutions of Britain? No, we have the same with the other side. And can we then list here the monarchy and the parliament, the minister, by the name, the judiciary, the police, the civil services, and the local government. The prime minister, just the prime minister. The monarchy and parliament, the prime minister and cabinet. Okay, these are the ministers. Can we name them then? I don't know. We could do it because it's not written down, so it's not really that someone could say that it's wrong, and they're saying pretty much that is so. And that would be a pretty good answer to that question. What are the constitutional institutions of Britain? Monarchy, parliament, prime minister, cabinet, judiciary, police, civil service, local government. These are the constitutional institutions. So we have another video. Where we're going to list it. The monarchy. King Charles III is the head of state of UK. The UK has a constitutional monarchy. This means that the king or queen does not rule the country, but appoints the government which the people have chosen in a democratic election. The monarch invites the leader of a party with the largest number of MPs or the leader of a coalition between more than one party to become the prime minister. And we're going to the next exercise, just 1990 for the legs, and we're going just in front. And now we're trying to do our little video about the Chartists. I have a second camera rolling, and we're trying now to say what you learned about the Chartists, the 60 months of the Chartists. So with 60 months, and then they were a group in the 30s and 40s, and at that time most people could not vote. Only a few men could vote if they had amount of property. Over the course of 18th century, these demands were adopted, and then over time also women's rights came. And women voting rights came in 1969, reduced to 18. We are doing the pigeon pose. Do that only if you already know how to do the pigeon pose. The 60 months of the Chartists, that every man can vote, and that every man can vote every year, and that in every region is equally important in the, it's hard to express, that all regions to be equally, that all regions are equal in the electoral system. The 60 months of the Chartists. The first one is that every man has the right to vote, and that happens every year. That's the second one. And that all the regions are equally in the electoral system. That the ballot is secret, so the voting is secret. And that every man also can be voted for as a member of parliament, that every man can stand as a member of parliament. And the sixth one, that members of parliament are getting paid. At the time when the Chartists were doing that in the 30s and 40s, when they were campaigning for that, it was seen then more or less as a failure. But over the course of a century then, most of these things were adopted. And then also after more campaigning, for example, with the suffragettes, and in recognition of the work which women had done in the First World War, when in 1918, women also got the right to vote in the first step, and then 1928 in the same way as men did it. From 1928 onwards, men and women in the United Kingdom could vote if they were over the age of 21, when that was reduced then in 1969 to 18. And that is according to the Life in UK Test Handbook, page 106. I'm doing the pigeon pose a little longer. I think it was okay. Maybe not 100% perfect, but I think it's better to understand at least the things which were not perfect. And then longer still with the pigeon pose, and then we're trying our big video about the UK landmarks. The Loch Lomond National Trust and the Trossachs National Park. We have 720 square miles. Snowdonia 823, and the other one 912. The Lake District 912. I have not that number. I have not good. Lake District 912. Snowdonia 823, and Loch Lomond and Trossachs National Park 720, and the Lake District 913, 912, 912, 803, 720, 912. It's not hard, 912. We're still not done with the pigeon pass, and I have nothing to do, basically. I'm waiting for a pigeon pass. We have 15 national parks, 61,000 members for volunteers, 1,859 founded. There are footpaths, 50 national parks, footpaths, and what was the other thing? There are many museums, right? And they are generally for charge. Most of them are open to the public to view, generally for charge, the museums. Now, the landmarks, famous landmarks exist in towns, cities, and the countryside throughout the UK. Most of them are open to the public to view, generally for a charge. We are done with the pigeon pose. I'm going to stop the second camera. And doing the stitching on the other side, first 1990, and just a front. We have three things in London. London Eye, and the Tower of London, and the Big Ben. Then we're having two as a bonus, the Eden Project and Edinburgh Castle. And then we're having two lakes, Loch Lomond and Trossachs National Park, and the Lake District. And then we have two mountains, or one mountain and one volcanic lava stones. The mountain Snowdonia, Snowdon the mountain, Snowdonia the park, 823 square miles, and then the Giant's Causeway. Then we're having footpaths, and we're going into the pigeon paths, footpaths, museums, and 61,000 members in the National Trust, 1895. Okay, let's try to do it. There are several landmarks in the UK. For example, 3 are here in London. And that's, for example, the Big Ben, also called the Elizabeth Tower. It's a big tower with a clock and a big bell inside of it, next to the Houses of Parliament. Another thing in London is the Tower of London. And there are the Yemen Warders, or the Beef Eaters also called, and they are touring tourists through it. It was firstly built after the Norman Conquest in 1066. And the third thing in London is the London Eye, a Ferris wheel. And that is 135 meters high, and it was built to the millennium in the year 2000, and it was an important part of the Diamond Jubilee of Queen Elizabeth II in the year 2012, and it's still used for New Year's celebrations. Then there is, for example, in the southwest of England, in Cornwall, there is the Eden Project, and these are biomes, these are greenhouses in the form of eggshells. And inside of them, there are different temperatures, so that inside of them, different types of plants from all over the world can grow. And then there's Edinburgh Castle in Edinburgh, at the east of Scotland in Edinburgh. And Edinburgh Castle is a prominent feature of the skyline of Edinburgh, and that castle dates back to the beginning of the medieval times. And then there's, for example, Loch Lomond in the Trossachs National Park. That is at the west of Scotland. And that is a 720 square mile large national park. And this Loch Lomond is the largest expanse of fresh water in mainland Britain. And there's the Lake District in England, and that's the largest national park of England. And that is 823 square miles big, this national park. And there's Windermere, and in 2007 a television show said that it is the most beautiful view of England, wasteland, in this national park. And then there is, for example, Snowdonia. Snowdonia is in the north of Wales, and there is a big mountain, Snowdon. And then there's another thing, that's the Giant's Causeway. That is at the northeast of Northern Ireland, and that is 50 million years old volcanic lava. There are different legends how thing it is. In the United Kingdom, there are 15 national parks. And there are a lot of footpaths on which people can hike and walk. In many cities and towns of the United Kingdom, there are museums, smaller community museums, but also big national museums. And there is the National Trust, and they are looking after the countryside, after the castles, after the buildings, also after the coastline. And that National Trust was founded by 3 volunteers in 1895, and they have 61,000 volunteers helping there. And that is according to the Live in UK test handbook, several pages, for example, these two. Okay, that was good, and we're done with the pigeon pose. We actually have almost no time left. We're doing the butterfly stretch. The soles of the feet together, we are stall the back and leaning a bit in front, and we don't have time. So I thank you very much, and until next time.